Hello, Reverend MeeLing, Reverend Susan MeeLing, Lady MeeLing, Lady Dori, Belle, a few other names. So today is the 3rd of May, 2020, and as I was getting some stuff from the store, some stuff such as birdseed, because I like watching birds. I had, before I had gotten bird feeders at my house in San Antonio, there were mockingbirds that made nests in the bushes that were at the house. And there were sparrows that made nests. And yes, a lot of people move into houses and then later on find nests. No, they were not there beforehand. They moved, the birds moved to where I was when living at Lincoln Green Apartments in San Antonio. Had sparrows and other finches that just showed up. Same thing at Songbird Apartments. At Songbird Apartments, there actually were some deer that showed up on the other side of the fence. There was this gorgeous buck. The antlers on that buck were I was surprised to see that within city limits. Because if you look up Songbird Apartments in San Antonio, it's off of Callahan Road. And that vicinity, I don't know where there's any forestry for that to be a normal thing. And especially with antlers that size. I mean, it was like a 15, 16 point buck. Kidding me? Kidding me? Inside the limits of San Antonio? Like, close to I-10? And Callahan is where Songbird Apartments is. I did not expect to see that at all, whatsoever. And it was on Callahan between I-10 and 410 in that vicinity. So it's one of those, what are you doing? Dinner? So pretty. Dinner? I like venison. Dinner? My tummy's growling right now. I really do like venison. So good. Just saying. And I'd actually told my now dead ex-husband, but that whole thing, if you get it, I'll skin it. I'll skin it. I'll gut it. Venison. 3 syllables. Venison. Nom nom nom. So tasty. I know I'm not the only one who likes venison, or elk, or buffalo. So good. Anyway, so I'm more of a carnivore than I am I actually was insulted the night I was, beyond the fact that Kevin from that situation in regards to that whole not leaving me alone and then insulting me about my corset, I was further insulted by being asked if I was a vegan. What makes you think I'm a vegan? At all? And I was told, well, you're skinny. What? What'd you call me? You're skinny. You're like, you have the body of like a typical vegan. What does that mean? Huh? What was that? Like, I was no offense, vegans. I am not one. I am not a vegan. I am not a vegetarian at all. And so I explained, I am a carnivore. I mean, you can consider me an omnivore if if there happens to be sides that I cook, or if I go to a place to eat and they have sides. Otherwise, like, just give me the steak, give me the bratwurst, give me just brisket. Like, I will. I don't, and partially because I'm allergic to fresh fruits and vegetables, so the sides have to be cooked extremely well, extremely well. And if there's like I like corn on the cob. Problem is, if one kernel is, I got birdseed. That was a little thing I was thinking of all last night while, because I'm very simple-minded. It might be a little weird, but I am the way I am. And so, yeah, I was insulted being called a vegan. Vegetarian? Oh, no. I think I'm actually allergic to them, though. I think I'm allergic to vegetarians. The ones that only eat like the raw version of things. I think I'm genuinely allergic to those types of people. Because I'm allergic to fresh fruits and vegetables, so they're going to produce that type of skin oil, and I'm just going to be allergic to them because I'm that allergic to fresh fruits and vegetables. I mean, it just, ew. And not just because it's a personal thing that because usually a lot of those types of people are that way, and I don't have patience for that. And, oh, the sight of blood. Yeah. It's the irony of how many females that would be like that when discussing certain things when it came to meat and stuff, and it's like, how are you a female? How are you a female? Cannot handle the sight of blood. Just gonna put that out there. How can you be all like that and then be a female? It's a little backwards. do you have some sort of, something that prevents you from ever bleeding? Because the only way I can think of a female not to bleed once a month is being knocked up. And I mean, if that's the way you prefer to not deal with blood, it's still inside of you. Like, your veins have blood in it. And I said that to a couple of females who were vegetarians, and they were just, oh, you're so vile. Oh. Okay, sure. If that is what considers me to be vile to you, we cannot be friends. And then that offended them. So why can't we be friends? Because you will never be able to fully handle things that I will say. Like, at all. Whatsoever. And there was one female, Christine from the Jade Wolf Coven, she was just like, we can so be friends if you just, use a filter when you speak to me. Told you I had a head injury on Palm Sunday in 2000, right? Injured, yeah. I told you I was born and raised in New Jersey. Yeah, there's no filter. The filter that I did have was knocked out, pun intended, by the head injury on the Palm Sunday in 2000. That filter that once was there, is gone. That was the filter that was once there. after that subarachnoid hemorrhage and the frontal lobe of my brain and the coma and all that, no filter. Not when I speak. Nope, that's not gonna happen. Nope, 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 nope. Not when I speak. Not unless you got somebody that's gonna go like beep over like when I speak, and that means like a recording. And yeah, no. Face to face, in person. No, you're not. You're. And then like there are times where I won't even swear or curse or anything like that, and you're gonna be offended, and I have to filter that. I have headaches and migraines. I am not about to filter myself because I signed the dotted line. I earned my freedom of expression. I'm just saying. Well, you should be like paying attention to my feelings. So then, what I said, what about the headache pain that I feel physically and the migraine pain that I feel physically? Are you telling me that it's okay for you to ignore my physical pain, but you want me to ignore my physical pain so that way I adhere to your feelings of emotional whininess? And then she said, yes. Oh, that's not gonna work. that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work for me. That's not gonna. That's. I can see why I said I wanted to be a satellite, and then give you a chance to prove to me whether or not I want to be a part of your coven. And yeah, you keep just check marking why I do not want to be a part of this coven at all. And then you just aren't giving us a chance. No, I am. You're just knocking yourselves out. I mean, I'm just saying, you are literally like. I mean, I could handle like males. That's what I grew up hanging out with. I grew up hanging out with males, and I kind of feel bad. Like if males have to deal with females like you, man, I feel bad for them. And she got offended by that. What do you mean? What do you mean you feel bad for males because of females like me? Because are you kidding me? I mean, okay, there are certain things that they shouldn't, you know, be saying out so much in like a public area. I get like if they can filter certain things, I get that. You can't really like legally, nor is it ethically or morally correct to grab a female and drag her back to the kitchen. Obviously, that's an issue. That's a problem. That's wrong, obviously. And that was one point Christine and I agreed upon. She was like, yes, you're right on that. Oh, okay, cool. But in reference to like the other things, I mean, how much do they? I mean, are females like you gonna make these guys into like little ballerina dancers because they gotta tiptoe every which way they go? They can't say this up, can't say this up, tippy tippy toes. Like, I mean, there are males who are great ballet dancers, no denying that. But are you going to go so far as to take these guys and make them eunuchs so that way you don't get you offended? You better not. And she said, why not? I was like, because I like manly men. Like, I do not like what you were describing. And every female has their own taste, just like every male has their own taste. And if there are males who into what that is, and they're straight, okay. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of gay guys who are not, high, but are high, just not, like, and yeah, no. And then she asked me what I meant by that because she told me that every gay guy she met was hi, like the little tippy toe tie. I was like, you don't know. there are some gay guys out there that you would look at them unless you got like on that. You would never know that they were high at all, like whatsoever. You would, and same thing with lesbians. There are plenty of lesbians out there that you would look at them, think they are the most like straight, and they are not. Not at all. And she was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, there are plenty of lesbians that are like lipsticky type, that's what they look like. They look like typical lipstick makeup like type stuff, and they are only into other females. They are not, and they're just like feminine of what you stereotype as lesbian. Like, not all lesbians have really short hair. Not all lesbians look like males. Not all lesbians even want to be males. There are plenty of lesbians that are perfectly content being a female and liking females. That's just, it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know if you know that. And Christine couldn't believe that. I was like, yes, no, that's a thing. That is a thing. And there are plenty of, and she goes, well, what would you describe the gay guys that are like, hi, but are like, hi? And it's like, well, I had to like, I mean, I guess like, well, like teddy bears, like, and not like teddy bear, like I call Senator Cruz teddy bear, because that's Chuck Bear. Chuck Bear. That's that. I mean, he could be a bear, and that's what I gave, like, but like just a bear, where they're like, grrr, like rar. And then, when they get with who they are comfortable with and are trying to do, then they're all like, hi. And, and she said, that is the dumbest explanation I have ever heard. It's like, it makes sense to me. I don't care, it doesn't make sense to you. I'm telling you, they exist. I'm telling you, they exist. And there are plenty of grrr males who are straight. They're like little teddy bears. Out in like the public, they're all rar, and then when they're with their and like hey, but not in the hey sort of way. If that makes any sense. I'm sure it makes sense to some. However, Christine threw this temper tantrum. You need to like pay attention to how I feel. I don't care how you feel. You don't care how I feel. Why should I care how you feel? Well, I'm telling you how I feel, but I don't care. Like, you came at me telling me that I should pay more attention to how you feel before anything else, and then you expect me to do that, and I'm just trying to live my life, and you want me to adhere to your garbage, and I don't have patience for that. I don't have time for that. I got 2 kids. At that time, I had my son and my daughter. It's one of those, I don't have time for, why aren't you paying attention to your children? Like, why don't you pay attention to what your children are doing and how you speak in front of your children before you come and tell me that I need to pay attention to you as an adult? I mean, you should be able to handle your own stuff before you come at me and try to tell me how I'm supposed to handle your stuff for you when you are an adult. I'm just saying, I don't have patience for that. And so, why? And then she went back to the whole, well, why do you feel bad for males? Because if females like you are more than just you, like if there are more females like you, I feel bad for those males. I feel bad for the manly gurrar males that are just not high, except for when they're with like who they feel, and then they're all high, but not, high, because they're not those types of guys. And she was like, well, give me an example. I go, okay, military guys, law enforcement guys, fire department guys. They're all grr-rar. And when, yeah, in certain situations, they have to be more, ish when it comes to, but when stuff needs to be done, stuff needs to be handled. That fluffiness is out the window. And then, when they get into the situation where they can be all comfortable and then, hey, that's it. But like, they shouldn't have to have all that, sort of stuff going on while they're in the middle of doing what they're doing. Because I met Christine, was it like 3 or 4 years after 9/11 happened? And it was one of those, she was one of those types of people who were like, oh, 9/11, her opinion, 9/11 was planned completely by George W. Bush. What? George W. Bush did what? What? And she genuinely believed that then President George W. Bush had planned the attacks on 9/11. And I looked at her and go, how stupid are you? And no, like, it happened when he was president. Just because it happened when he was president doesn't mean that it's his fault. I mean, seriously, think about that. You really need to think about that. And she was like, well, I watched a movie, so I know. And I was like, oh, you watched a movie. A movie. Yes, I did. I watched Michael Moore's movie, and I'm going to have his babies. Well, the irony of this day of the 3rd of May in 2020. Although I told her he probably would not touch her with a 10-foot pole. Attached to another 10-foot pole. Attached to another 10-foot pole. Which then she was offended by that. And she asked if I was calling her ugly. And I said, no. I didn't say that you're ugly. I just said that he probably wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole attached to another 10-foot pole attached to another 10-foot pole. And then she asked again, why? And I said, because, if he makes movies, he probably could get any female, and you probably would not be at the top of his list. At all. Probably not. I mean, you could, but probably not. Probably not. And then she was like, why not? I said, well, I've spoken with your husband. She's like, yeah, I know you hung out with Mike. I'm like, yeah. Mike told me a few things. Which, okay, so I apologize to Mike because, I mean, because he had told me, now mind you, he was an airplane mechanic in the Air Force. And when they had met, meaning Christine and Mike, and he had been chaptered out because of weight issues or something, but he was a mechanic, so he had like big hands and stuff like that. And he told me, as well as a few other people, that he could fit both of his hands inside of her and clap. And then but I knew that she knew that because she got upset when he said that, and she's like, well, I had 3 children naturally. And, I was like, yeah, but there are ways to fix that. And, it doesn't take a surgery. I'm just saying. There are things you can do to, like, make sure you don't have that problem. And she was just, whatever, it's only because you had 2 children. I'm like, no, I got ripped from stem to sternum. I got sewed back up. No. No. I know how to take care of my stuff and make sure that I am squared away. And, I also, I am the way I am. And she was just, yeah, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. And I looked at Mike because when she said it was not that big of a deal after he had said it, I looked at him because I was like, I gotta see your response. And he just went. So when in the discussion with Christine about Michael Moore, it was one of those, probably would like to be able to feel something. Possibly. Just saying. But if you want to give birth to his children, again, the irony of today being 3 May 2020 and some of those individual types of biological males. Comparison. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. So, as I was getting the bird seed and stuff like that, and I was excited to get the bird seed. It looks like sprinkles when, you know, you spill it by accident or you spread it out on the ground and got the bird seed. It looks like sprinkles. This is sprinkles. And I could watch the birds show up to the patio. And I had done that with my house in Carrollton specifically. I had gotten hummingbird feeders and put them at the windows so that way I could watch the hummingbirds without, you know, getting in their way or anything like that, because they're pretty birds. And I had bird feeders that I put in the house in or outside the house in the yard in San Antonio, which I apparently didn't really need to do. I really didn't. Because when moving into the house in San Antonio, within, I think it was the 3rd week, there was mockingbirds that made their nests in the front yard. In the backyard, there were sparrows and finches and a bunch of other birds that had made nests in the different, the Texas sage bushes, the pittosporum, the viburnum, and the oleander that were in the backyard. And so it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So my now dead ex-husband, he went to go mow the yard one day. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. I was taking care of my son. Well, he went to go mow the lawn in the front yard, and the mockingbirds attacked him while he was mowing the lawn. They did not like him at all. They actually made him bleed because of the fact that they didn't like him at all whatsoever. They did not like him at all. And so after the 2nd or 3rd time, he was like, when you deliver, you know, your daughter, then you're going to be mowing the lawn. And I was. 1 week after delivering my daughter, I was mowing the lawn, and it was a push mower. Push mower, it did have an engine, but, you know, that only made it heavier by a lot. And so, you know, I did it though. But then after I started mowing the lawn and taking care of that stuff, the front yard had 3 trees that were in the shape of a triangle and some ivy that was growing in that area. And I decided I wanted a fountain in that area. It would look nice. So after I had gotten a fountain, which there were 3 ducks that showed up. There were mallard ducks that perched in the trees. It was one of those, well, okay. That's different. Okay. I've never seen ducks like in trees. I've seen them in bushes. I've seen them in water. I've them walking on grass. Not sitting in trees. Okay, sure, whatever. That's new. Okay. So I got this 3-tier fountain, and it was, I got it from the P Extra, and it was like 6.5 feet tall, 3 tiers, and completely made out of concrete. Moved the pieces into the van. The only piece that I had help moving, because I wanted it, was the biggest piece, because it was bulky. That was the only reason why. My now dead ex-husband helped move it into the van. Otherwise, I moved it all by myself, and put it out there and had that whole thing going, and then later on, I had put another fountain in the front yard. That was a smaller one that was closer to the house, and there was an umbrella where a male and female, like in Victorian clothing, were sitting on a bench, and the male was holding the umbrella. But that one got stolen. So mad. I'm still mad about that, because I also had gladiola that were stolen out of my front yard. I had dug a trench all the way around the ivy, and I got gladiola to grow in San Antonio soil. I'm still mad about it, because it was a section that was like 3.5 feet long by like 2.5 feet deep. I dug that trench by hand, by the way. And yeah, so mad. I was so mad. I dug it at night, because it's San Antonio and it's hot during the daytime. Still hot at night, but able to get that taken care of. And so I got those little lamps to put outside while I was working and getting them done, because I wanted it. I could get it done. And then later, after one of the tree branches fell, had those trees removed and had the ivy removed. And I put in either a red bud or a crepe myrtle in the center. And then I got the scallop cement circle thingamabobs. And then I got plants where I made a star, a pentacle, Star of Texas, same thing. And I was like, I did that all by myself. And I didn't have to lay lines down or anything. I just dug it and put the plants in to make the star all by myself. I did it. Did it by myself. And so, but yeah, I did that. And so, but in the backyard, I had put in a whole bunch of bird feeders. Not that I really needed to. It was one of those, I like birds. They're pretty. And I can't have any inside, so yeah, that's fine. And so I went and I got birdseed today. Which I have to admit, my now dead ex-husband, when he was alive during both the dating portion, or three ways, the dating portion, and then after the final separation, birds hated him. They hated him. They hated him. They hated him. There was a time we were on the Riverwalk, and a bunch of birds flew over and literally did a dive bomb on him and got him on his head. It was awesome. And then, I said about the mockingbirds and stuff like that attacking him, and they would attack him when he went to the car too. Like, it didn't matter. Like, they did not like him. And then there was a time at the San Antonio Zoo, he looked up and a bird did a dive bomb and it got him in the mouth. High five or high wing, whatever. Good aim! Good aim! final separation, and there were other times during the marriage, before the first separation, during the time of the first separation and the final separation, after the final separation, and then, up until his death, essentially. Like, birds just randomly attacked him. They would mess with him, and he tried telling me, it's a conspiracy theory. The birds hate me. The birds hate me. And I was like, why would you think it's a conspiracy theory that the birds are doing what? What? They like congregate together. And they're like, all right, we see you. Who am I going to crap on today? That guy. I'm going to get that one. And then the irony of it, today I went and got, and so I can leave those sprinkles there and get the benefit of watching them and have them fly around and stuff like that. And then, and I thought, to myself, and murmured a little bit, that, there could be certain types of guys who have to do certain types of jobs, and they could just have the question situation where they have sprinkles, and then just walk away, and then come back and be like, so would you like to answer my questions truthfully, or would you like some more sprinkles? Oh, you don't want to answer? Okay, I'll just keep it simple, stupid. Answer my questions, or I'll get some more sprinkles. And then the birds could do. I'm a sadist, I know. I'm a sadist, I know. But I'm not in that profession. I mean, I would have fun with that as that. Just saying. Just throw that out there. Just saying. Anyway, that's what I'm going to end on at this point. Pun intended, because birds' beaks, they're pointy. Some of them are. Some of them are sharp. And then those claws and those talons. See, I have always had a special place in my heart for military guys and law enforcement guys, and the guys that have certain types of jobs where they can't always, certain things, and then, they just have, and, I have just this special spot in my heart, because want to make their jobs easier. I mean, there's still difficulties, don't deny that, but, it's just a little soft spot. And, when you get ice cream, who doesn't want sprinkles on their ice cream? So you guys have a good one.